Okay, I worked it out in my mind. What I had only hazily begun to work out yesterday, the reasoning why my B-flat tuning of this instrument, I think will make a lot more sense. So we'll make it a lot easier to play a lot of stuff on this. Because of the reach through, there's the two reach through spaces. There's B to C and E to F, where there isn't a half step, there isn't a black note between those two notes because they're half steps. Now here is the logic of this. It's really simple when you think about it. Because the way the intervals are in a major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, it's whole step, half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Every major of every one of the 12 major scales, and it doesn't mean major that some scales are more important than others. It's just the difference between major and minor. The major scale, that's what makes the scale, is that sequence of intervals: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So it's two. I forget what they call it. It's the 4 notes, but each octave, it's 2 semi-octaves from like this one. Those are the first 4 notes, and then the last 4 notes. And those two sequence of 4 notes are joined by a middle interval joining them, which is also a whole step. So it's whole step, half step, whole step to join them, and then whole step, half step. It's a little, you know, I used to know what that was called, those tetrachord. I think it's called a tetrachord, meaning 4 strings. Whole step, half step. Two of those joined by another whole step. Whole step, so it's 2 whole steps, half step, 3 whole steps, half step. So here's the simple logic of it. If these 2 strings where there's the space, so you could reach through from the other set of strings with a couple fingers and pluck them, either way or together, in a row or together, up or down, that's a half step. Then there's only 2 half steps in a major scale. There's a half step between the 3rd note and the 4th note, and there's a half step between the 7th note and the 8th note, which is the 8th note is the 1st note, repeated an octave higher. This is the 1st note, and this is the 8th note, and they're both C. So because there's only 2 intervals in a major scale that has a half step between them, the 3 to 4 and 7 to 8. If I have this tuned the normal way, which is E natural, F natural, and B natural, C natural, how many scales will you find those 2 notes together? How many scales will you find E natural and F natural together? Only 2 scales. You will find those 2 notes together in the scale that has E as the 3rd note and F as the 4th note, and that scale is the key of C. And you will find E and F together in the scale in which E is the 7th note and F is the 8th note, which is the key of F major. Those are the only 2 scales that will have those 2 notes in the major scale. So your ability to reach through and play those 2 notes as part of the natural scale will only work in 2 keys. Only the key of C and the key, only the key of C and the key of F will have E natural and F natural. And for the B natural and C natural, there's only 2 keys that will have it. The key of C, in which B is the 7th, and the key of G, in which B is the third. So there's only four scales. No, there's only scale. There's only four keys. No, there isn't. There's only three, because two of those intervals are in the key of C. So those intervals for the reach through to play those two notes in that key will only work in three keys. They will both work in the key of C. E and F will work in the key of F, but the B won't work in the key of F because the B has to be B flat. And the B to C will work in the key of G, where B is the third, but the E to F won't work in the key of G because F has to be F sharp. However, with my new tuning here, where I've tuned this to the key of B flat by simply tuning E natural and B natural a half step lower, now what I have is a whole step interval. I have E flat and F. So if I want to play E flat and F, I can reach through from the sharps and flats side, and B flat and C. Now the question is, how many keys can I play those notes, or do those notes exist together with? Well, a lot more. 5. 5 in fact, because E flat and F in the key of E flat are 1 to 2, which is a whole step. E flat and F in the key of D flat are 2 to 3. And the next one is 4 to 5. So E flat to F in the key of B flat is 4 to 5. In the key of A flat, E flat to F in the key of A flat is 5 to 6. And E flat to F in the key of G flat is 6 to 7. So that's 5 keys. That means 5 keys you can reach through and have both those notes in the key. And the same is true for the B flat and the C. That also exists in 5 separate keys. And what's more, when you look on the other side of it now, what's happened when I replaced E natural on the other side by tuning E flat a half step sharp. So now on the other side, where it used to be, where the standard is to have E flat and a space, E flat and the gap, and then the next blue note is F sharp or G flat, which is a minor third between them. Now, what I have is E natural to F sharp, which is one whole step. That's a little tiny bit sharp, but... And the same thing again in what used to be B flat is now B natural, and the interval across this reach through gap is B to C sharp, which is a whole step. So again, those two whole steps work. Each one exists in 5 different keys, which are the sharp keys. So on the one side that used to be the C natural, the scale, which I've turned into B flat scale. These two notes in a row, the E flat and the F, and the B flat and the C, that are whole steps. Each one, those pair exist in 5 different keys, major keys. And on the other side, the gap of the two notes around the gap, which are also a whole step, also exist in 5 different keys. So in 5, but and the keys on this side, on the B flat side, those two intervals, E flat to F and B flat to C, the keys that those exist in are all flat keys. The E flat to the F, the B flat to the C, each one of them exists in 5 keys, which are all flat keys. All keys with flat key signatures. A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat. And on the other side, where I have E and F sharp and B and C sharp, Those whole step intervals exist in 5 separate keys, which are all sharp keys. Because it's going to be one way, it's going to be one or the other. It's going to be, except for one. The one exception is going to be the key of C natural now, which ordinarily is, that's the one you do without thinking because they're all just on this one row. C natural is now a little more complicated, but not much. It's bum, bum, and then I reach down for the third one. And then the next tetrachord, I think that's, I'm sure what it is, but I haven't thought of that word for decades, tetrachord. Da, da, and reach down again. Ooh, that's a little flat now. Da-dum. So this is the brilliance of this system, and the one thing that I have to do now, which I got the idea, I saw a video of somebody with a concert, full-scale, full-size cross-strung harp, and what she had was just like a piano keyboard. The natural, the key of C chord strings were all white except for the blue and the red for C and F. They were white, and the sharps and flats were all black, just like on a piano keyboard, and that will be visually very helpful. By doing this, and what's going to be different now, though, because I've reversed these two pairs of notes, it will be, I'll keep, first of all, this one has 2 red and 2 blue on each octave, because C sharp is red as well as C natural. F sharp is blue as well as F natural. And in my new stringing, I'm going to change that. C sharp and F sharp will be white. No, C sharp and F sharp will be black strings. So there will, each octave will have 1 red string, which will be C. Every red string will be C and not C natural, not C sharp. It will be C natural. And every blue string will be F and not F sharp. So you won't be getting confused. On this, you can easily get a little confused forgetting which row you're on, the upper row or the lower row. The blue is a different, is F or F natural depending whether you're up or down. And the red is C sharp or C natural depending whether you're up or down. And it will be a little less leading you into confusion if there's only 1 red, which you know it's C natural, and only 1 blue that you know is F natural. And then C sharp will be a black string, F sharp will be a black string. E flat will be a black string, but it will be on the other side. B flat will also be a black string on the other side, and on this side with that are ordinarily the sharps and flats, what was E flat will now be a white string because it will be E natural, and the B flat string is now a B natural, will also be white. So it will be an interesting sequence, but will make it a lot easier to really practice and learn and not be all having to constantly picture in your head which notes are which. Because you will see what you will have here is on the right side, you'll have red, C, white, D, black, E flat, blue, F, white, G, white, A, black, B flat, and red, C. And on the left side, the left row of strings, you will have black, D flat, white, E natural. This blue string will be black, G flat, F sharp, black, G flat, black, A flat, and white, B natural. That will make it all, it may sound hard to just try to picture it with me just telling you what the notes will be, but when you see it strung out, what will happen is you'll end up, each octave will have 1 red string, 1 unique red string will be C natural and nothing else. 1 unique blue string will be F natural and nothing else. There will be 5 white strings and 5 black strings. it'll be a lot, in a sense, it'll be visually more even because you'll have 5 white, 5 black, and 2 that are red or blue. And that difference of the black and the white will make it a lot easier visually to navigate. A lot easier. Like I said in my very first video about this thing, is that I was having a little bit of eye strain as I was playing to try to focus my eyes on the row of strings that my hand were in. I think I'm becoming more accustomed to it now, but it may be that I've just been playing it less. I don't know. The combination, you guys do adjust. However, I think even not aside from the eye strain, just for being able to really visualize which notes on which row are the ones you're seeing, having the blacks for the sharps and flats, and having the whites for the key of C will make it a lot easier to really visualize as you're playing. Oh, I can see I'm on the wrong row because this one's black or this one's white, and I'm looking for a sharp or a flat, and I know it's going to be flat black. Especially when you're learning the switch of the E flat and the E natural, when you see that the third string is black and not white, and when you see that the string on the other side is white, you'll much more easy to visualize. Of course, the key of C. The key of C will remain only white strings. All the white strings will be in the key of C. All of the white strings will be in the key of C. All of the black strings will be sharps or flats. So even though the key of C is switched around from the way it's ordinarily laid out, it will be easy to visualize because you'll see red, white, white, blue, white, white, white. But the third string and the 7th string will be on the other side, on this ordinarily the sharps and flats side. Oh no, that's it. And that's it. You can hear the difference. Just E flat, B flat, E natural, B natural. So there it is. It's a little bit too long. It's a bit of an explanation, and really only of interest, I think, to a cross-strung harp player for the most part. And none of them are going to even sit through my videos until one day when I actually get the thing set up with the black and white strings in this way, and then it will be, I want to describe it, I'll be able to show it. Then somebody, somewhere, might look at that and say, you know, he might have something there. Because I think I do. I think I have something there. And I think the other, so now I'm getting this far about trying to think it out all through. The other part, I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think there's any other way that you could do it. I mean, you can, as I change the tuning, what it does is it moves the black notes from being between C and D, D and E. It moves them to being between other strings, from being between the first and second and the second and third. It will move them. That's what I've done. So what I've accomplished here is I've got in the key of B flat. Now these two strings that should be C sharp or D flat and E flat, that are ordinarily between the first and second and the second and third, are now between the second and third and the third and the fourth in the key of B flat. But I don't think there's so then you could say, well, what if you did it the other way? What if you continued and made this between the third? So then what would that, how would that would you, then you'd be really retuning all the notes, and then what would that make this? No, that just really screwed up. I think this is the same. Any other arrangement that you tried to make would end up being the same, but more complicated way of doing the same thing, because however you work it out, it'd end up being the same way, because the key of B flat that I have now here, no. Okay, so it's the key of B flat, and this is D flat. If you tried to change it and make it the third, eventually it would all come out the same, and I'd have to really think it out a little bit more before I can give a clear explanation of why it would be. But because it's a difference, if there's only two possibilities, that the reach through notes are a half step or that they're a whole step. I mean, you could do it any other way, but I think it's as complicated and at the same time as simple as you can deal with. If you try to make it any more complicated, you won't be able to deal with it. But this is complicated enough to actually simplify. It simplifies by slight complication, and the slight complication is simply the reversal of E and E flat and the B and B flat. So that's a lot longer than I expected or wanted, and I could probably shut the fuck up. But once I get the black strings, just be able to show you what I've come up with, and I think it will work. I think it will make fingering a lot simpler to do this, because it will enable the reach through for the whole steps, and the colored strings will allow you to really visualize, aha, the key of C, it's all the white notes. Even though some of the white notes are not, the white notes will not all be on one of the two sets of strings, and the black notes will not all be on one or two sets of strings. But that's just a trivial matter, because once they're white and black, it will be easy to tell which notes are where. So I could say la-di-da at this point, but I mean, that's such an internet meme at this point. It just spread like wildfire across the internet. Everybody now is saying la-di-da. You see TV commercials saying la-di-da. You see The Simpsons saying la-di-da. You see kids in elementary school running around saying la-di-da. And who started it? I started la-di-da.